Shalom, 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 shalom. Brother Jose, a fisherman for Zion, coming at you once again with another video, giving all glory and honor to Yahweh by Shimon Mashak Yahweh Shah. Yahweh, who the word ignorantly used as God. Yahweh Shah HaMashiach, who the word ignorantly used as Jesus the Christ. Coming at you once again, saying peace, peace, peace to the brothers that's on the highways and byways, waking up the lost sheep, the hope for the elect in these last days. Peace and blessings to y'all, man. Continue to stay abounding. Continue to stay on course. Continue to do this work, man. Doing it for the Most High and for the saints. And they're doing all things for the elect's sake as well as that. And, to those that's not on the highways and byways, doing the work as well. Peace, peace, peace. Blessings to y'all. And to the sisters that's married, that has husbands, especially those that's going on the highways and byways. Peace and blessings to y'all as well. Those that are not married, present their bodies a living sacrifice. Peace, peace, peace to you as well. Have grace and mercy. May grace and mercy be upon y'all all, man. Continue to do the work. Continue to pray, fast, study, do all you can in these last days while you can. Making our calling and election sure. But not trying to be before you long. Just mainly doing this video, talking about prayer, to those that's coming into the truth. And, you have to do these videos, because you can't forget. You got to be mindful that people are coming into this truth as well. People are waking up and, basically how myself and others came into this truth. These videos can be helpful, and most high willing they'll be edifying to y'all. So, not trying not to be before you too long, but we're gonna get a couple precepts before we open up and get started. This is Psalms chapter 119 and verse 15, and it reads, I will meditate in thy precepts and have respect unto thy ways. So you want to meditate upon the Most High words and sayings, and these laws, statutes, and commandments, and have respect unto his ways. Because you meditate on so many things in a so-called 24-hour day span, and a lot of times you want to at least try to get in this book when you have maybe free time, and try to diminish and prevent so much idle time, because Sirach in the Apocrypha, in the book of Sirach, so I can't remember what chapter it was, but it was talking about idleness is very dangerous. Roughly paraphrasing, it's almost like the devil's playground, for lack of better terms. So we're going to read that again. Psalms 119 verse 15. I will meditate in thy precepts and have respect unto thy ways. Verse 16. I will delight myself in thy statutes. I will not forget thy word. So you don't want to get too deep and too busy and going away in your day that you don't think about the Most High word or try to get in his word. So I'm going to get another precept. This is Psalms chapter 1, and I'm gonna start at verse 2. Psalms chapter 1 and verse 2. But his delight is in the law of Yahweh, and in his law doeth he meditate day and night. So you want to be meditating day and night. Even if you don't have the scriptures or able to open up the book and flip through it, you kind of want to think about it, and then you kind of want to get in the scripts whenever you can, and try your utmost might to meditate in this book, man, in this law, in this word as much as you can, day and night. So with that, we're gonna go ahead and open up, mainly talking about prayer, how to pray in these last days, because you need to know how to pray. Because coming out of the world, Christianity doctrine, all these religion doctrines and these strongholds. You know, many people have, you know, have their own way or thoughts on how they should pray, man. You know, many people don't know how to hold their hands, or don't know where they supposed to kneel or stand or bow down. But, you know, we're going to mainly touch up and talk about, you know, the important things that you need to do when you pray. And, you know, many people, you know, they just, you know, go along with what they've been taught when they was a child coming up in these churches or these cathedrals. So, you know, gotta let all that madness go, man. You know, and what's that prayer that they used to pray when they pray over the food? Man, I can't even think of it right now. It's a crazy prayer that everybody, and mainly the kids, know. You know, that they prayed over their food. Some madness. And even when they sleep, now let me down to sleep. Pray the Lord my soul to keep. If I should die before I wake, pray the Lord my soul. Some madness like that. You know, it's craziness. All praise to the Most High. I can't even remember, man. So, you know, that's madness. You know, but we're gonna get into it. This is let me see where I want to start at. Let's go to the book of Matthew. Let me see. I'm gonna go to the book of Matthew. So we're gonna touch up on praying, how you should pray. Let me see where I want to start at. This is Matthew chapter 6. I'm gonna start at verse 3. I'm gonna start at verse 3. This is Matthew chapter 6 verse 3. But when thou doest alms, let not thy left hand know what thy right hand doeth, that thine alms may be in secret, and thy Father which seeth in secret himself shall reward thee openly. See that? You don't want to, you know, be out just, you know, boasting and, you know, just entertaining, you know, people and putting on a show, making yourself look good, because that's not gonna benefit you anything. Verse 5, reading now. And when thou prayest, thou shalt not be as the hypocrites are, for they love to pray standing in the synagogues and in the corners of the streets, that they may be seen of men. Verily I say unto you, they have their reward. But thou, when thou prayest, enter into thy closet, and when thou hast shut thy door, pray to the Father which is in secret, and thy Father which sitteth in secret shall reward thee openly. You see that? So you don't want to be out in public praying, and, you know, just like they do in the Christian church, they kind of just lay hands on people and, you know, put oil, put a cross on your forehead, and, you know, just put their hands on people and just kind of try to make the people fall back, and just, you know, doing all type of folly and madness. You know, that's not biblical, man. That's not according to the Most High God ways, man. That's just, you know, man's way of doing whatever they think is, you know, the best way of praying, and just, it's just wickedness, man. You know, so the Lord say, you know, they have their reward. You know, they have their perception of what people think about them, a man of God, a woman of God. You know, they have that. You know, that's just full of vain wickedness, man, and that's not according to the scriptures. You know, so we gonna get another one. We gonna get mainly touching on how you should pray, and, you know, so on and so forth, things like that. This is let me see where I want to go. You know, we can touch up on many things, but I'm trying to mainly sum it up. I don't want it to be too long, because, you know, so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, the Israelites, they have a short attention span, man. So we try to make it short and sweet. Let me see. This is This is Psalms chapter 5. And I'm gonna start at verse 7. But as for me, I will come into thy house in the multitude of thy mercy, and in thy fear will I worship toward thy holy temple. So when you pray, you're supposed to be facing a certain direction, according to the scriptures, according to the true biblical way to pray. You're supposed to be facing a certain direction. You know, you can't just, do what you want to do and pray how you just want to pray. You're supposed to come before the Most High God, the true Holy One, living One, omnipotent One, superior One, righteous One. You want to come before Him correct, and you want to, step by step do what you're supposed to do. You can't just do what you want to do. And, it's not saying, you can't pray while you're driving, when you're going down the road, because, you can do that, but, you're supposed to be a certain way, doing it a certain way, because when you come before the Most High God, you want to come correct, and you want to come before Him as acceptable in His ways and not your ways. So I'm going to read that one more time. Psalm chapter 5, verse 7. But as for me, I will come into thy house in the multitude of thy mercy, and in thy fear will I worship toward thy temple. You see that? So let's get another one. Let's go to Daniel chapter 6, and I'm going to start at verse 10. This is the book of Daniel chapter 6, verse 10. Now when Daniel knew that the writing was signed, he went into his house, and his windows being open in his chamber toward Jerusalem. You see that? So toward Jerusalem. And Jerusalem is the place of, the main place for the Israelites. Short to say, the Most High's, capital. That's where you want to be facing toward. Jerusalem is mainly towards the east, so-called towards the east, so that's the way you want to be facing. And a way that Israelites normally do it, myself and other Israelites, we get a compass. Most people have compasses on their phone. You have a compass, you can kind of rotate it, and it determine where the east is. And but it's gonna come times where we're not gonna have compasses, but mainly it's a saying that the sun, I believe it's the sun is towards the east, and west of that is mainly where we should be facing, to kind of get a good idea of the east. But that's kind of like, that can kind of go over your head if you really aren't in that field of knowledge, as far as kind of being in a direction, if you don't have a compass. But you have to, you want to get familiar with that stuff, as far as where you're supposed to stand, as far as the sun and east of the sun, and on the west of that. But I'm still trying to learn more about that, because I may not have a compass in that day. Jacob's trouble, and when we don't have the comfortability of having our phones in those evil, perilous times. But reading on, Daniel chapter 6, verse 10. Now when Daniel knew that the writing was signed, he went into his house, and his windows being open in his chamber toward Jerusalem, he kneeled upon his knees 3 times a day and prayed and gave thanks before his Most High, and he did aforetime. See that? So, Daniel prayed 3 times a day. He got on his knees, and he faced the east. And, we're going to show you what you're supposed to do with your hands, because most people, they think they supposed to let me see first. Let me see. Most people, they think they supposed to kind of just, let me see. I thought it was 2 Kings. Most people think they supposed to kind of just pray with, pray like this, and that's not biblical. Praying like this, that's not biblical. That's not in the scriptures. It's nowhere in the scriptures that say you're supposed to close your hands, bow your head, like you about to do a karate chop or something. That's not in the scriptures, man. So let's go to 1 Kings, the 8th chapter. 1 Kings, chapter 8, starting at verse 22. And Solomon stood before the altar of the Lord in the presence of all the congregation of Israel, and spread forth his hands toward heaven. You see that? So this is Solomon, doing a prayer. And what did he do? He had his hands open toward heaven. So that's how you pray. Kind of stretch out your arms and hold your hands out, facing the east, and you bowing down. So let's read it again. 1 Kings chapter 8, verse 22. And Solomon stood before the altar of Yahweh in the presence of all the congregation of Israel, and spread forth his hands toward heaven. So that's the way that's the correct biblical way to pray. Get your compass, find the east, stretch forth your hands and bow down. Let me see. Let me get another one. Stay in 2 Kings. And I'm going to get 2 Kings. This is 2 Kings, the 13th chapter. And I'm going to start at verse 17. 2 Kings 13 and 17. And he said, open the window eastward. And he opened it. Then Elijah said, shoot. And he shot. And he said, the arrow of the Lord's deliverance, and the arrow of deliverance from Syria. For thou shalt smite the Syrians and Aphek, till thou have consumed them. So he opened the window eastward. Why did he open the window eastward? Because that's the spiritual direction that the Most High God is dealing with. Short to say, because that's our home. That's where our homeland is. Mainly the east of, being on the earth, being on the so-called face of the earth, for lack of better terms. So you want to face eastward, man. So let me see. Let me get something. Let me get another precept. Let me see. Let me get my pocket for right quick. This is Sirach chapter 7. I'm gonna start at verse, getting into how you supposed to pray, what you supposed to do when you pray. So this is Sirach chapter 7, and I'm gonna start at verse 10. Be not faint-hearted when thou makest thy prayer, and neglect not to give alms. You see that? Be not faint-hearted when thou makest thy prayer, man. So you don't want to just pray for something that you don't believe, that you don't want to believe is going to be answered, man. Or you don't want to pray for something that you think that ain't going to come to pass, man. You don't want to pray for some madness and some foolishness, man. You don't want to be praying, talking about, Lord, can you bless me with a Rolls Royce, with a Maybach, You gotta keep it real, man. Like, the Most High God knows your mind. He knows your ways. He know what you need. He know what you don't need. He know what you really believe and what you don't believe. So you don't want to be faint-hearted when you're praying. You don't want to pray in public. You know, you want to go to your closet, your your sweet spot. Should I say you want to go to your sweet spot, and you want to believe and really get into that thing. So let's get some more. Let me see what I want. Like I said, it's let me see. Might have to stay in Iraq right quick. So give me a minute. Trying to give y'all some good ones. So this is another one. This is a mighty one right here. This is Sirach chapter 33 and the Apocrypha. Mine's kind of jammed up right now, but you want to get you Apocrypha too. If you're new to the truth, you want to kind of get you Apocrypha. If they haven't taken it out of stores right now, they trying to jam everybody up, because people waking up in these last days, finding out about the truth. But you want to get you Apocrypha. This is Ecclesiasticus. If you can see it, Sirach chapter 33 and verse 4. And it reads, prepare what to say, and so thou shalt be heard, and bind up instruction, and then make answer. You see that? So you want to prepare what you're going to say. You don't want to just be saying anything or coming before the Lord any kind of way, And let me get another one to kind of simple that up just a little bit. Let me see. This is Sirach, same book, chapter 18 and verse 23. Before thou prayest, prepare thyself. Now, chapter 33 said, prepare as well. So let's go back to that. Sirach chapter 33 verse 4. Prepare what to say, and so thou shalt be heard, and bind up instruction, and then make answer. So let's go back to Sirach 18 and verse 23. Before thou prayest, prepare thyself, and be not as one that tempted the Lord. You see that? You want to kind of already know what you're going to pray for. You want to kind of make it short and sweet. You don't want to come before the Lord like a Christian pastor or so-called Christian woman, pastor woman, in the pulpit, spending 10 minutes just, praying for things that, you only should have really had a minute, or maybe 30 seconds, or, 50 seconds, 2 minutes maybe at the least. You don't want to just continue to pray for the same thing over and over and over. You already asked the Lord for, you still going on and praying and praying and praying. You got to prepare what to say, and you got to prepare yourself, man. You can kind of wash your face. You can kind of, use the bathroom. You don't want to try to come to pray and you got to pee, man. Talking about you trying to speed up your prayer, and you about to pee on yourself. Hey, go handle your business and then come back and pray. Your stomach hurting, you over here like, oh, Lord, help me. Your stomach hurting, you got to use the bathroom. No, you got to prepare yourself when you come before the Lord. You ain't coming before your mom or your dad or your brother and sister. You coming before the mighty, the great and terrible one. You don't want to be coming up to the Lord, talking about, hang on, I got to use the bathroom and say, excuse me. And then you trying to just leave off and go use the bathroom. And then you come back and say, okay, where was we at? Where did I leave off at? No, man. The Lord not dealing with that, man. The Lord not dealing with that. So, yeah, you got to prepare what you going to say, and you got to prepare yourself. You got to know what you praying for, what you asking for, and you want to believe it, what we were just bringing out. So, let me see what I want to get again. I'm gonna get a couple more before I get into. Let me see. Before I get into winding down and get my last couple precepts. So this is. Let me see where I want to start here. This is Psalms chapter 119, and I'm gonna start at verse 164. Psalms chapter 119, verse 164. 7 times a day do I praise thee because of thy righteous judgments. You see that? So it's not a set number of times that you have to pray or you have to minimize. It's decent enough to do it 3 times, like we read in Daniel 6 and 10. That 3 is good, because that's a spiritual number as well, and 7 is too, mainly completion. So if you're praying 7 times a day, hey, that's mighty. All praise to the Most High. That is mighty. And the times that we're living in now, you want to strive for that. So if you're praying 7 times a day, all praise to the Most High. Most High bless you. And you want to try to keep things in a perspective where you can believe it and be able to understand and really carry on throughout your day. Whether that be 30 minutes, it's not a bad thing to pray every 30 minutes, or every 3 hours, or every every time you whatever you got going on in your day, it's no time number, it's no limit. So like I said, time number, it's no limit, basically, to sum it up. And you want to have yourself properly, your proper attire, so you can't, brothers can't have they crown lift their head, they can't have their crown covered up. You can wear a diadem, or basically like a mitre, like in Wisdom of Solomon, the 18th chapter, the 24th verse, that you can read that in Wisdom of Solomon, the 18th chapter, the 24th verse. Brothers had mitres on, diadems around the crown. So like, not around the crown, but around their head. And sisters, you want to have your head covered up whenever you pray. Only the sisters, though. Let's get that. That's 1 Corinthians, the 11th chapter. So this is 1 Corinthians chapter 11. And I'm gonna start at verse 3. But I will have you know, this is 1 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 3. But I will have you know that the head of every man is Hamashiach, and the head of the woman is the man, and the head of Hamashiach is Most High. Verse 4, every man praying or prophesying having his head covered dishonored his head, because the head of the man, or should I say the man of the head, Salaki, I'm jamming myself up, Salaki. The man looks towards Christ, that's his head, and the woman, her head is the man. So let's read it again. 1 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 4. Every man praying or prophesying having his head covered dishonor his head, but every woman that prayed or prophesied with her head uncovered dishonored her head, for that is even all one as if she were shaven. So let's read it again. 1 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 5. But every woman that prayed or prophesied with her head uncovered dishonored her head, for that is even all one as if she were shaven. You see that? So the woman, she wants to have her head covered and make sure she coming before the Most High God in an appropriate way to be accepted in the eyes of the Most High God. Not in the eyes of man, but in the eyes of the Most High God, as well as the man. You don't want to have a hood. You don't want to have your hood on, brothers. Brothers don't want to have their hood on, fitted cap on. You don't want, your do-rag on. You got to take it off. Now you can, you can cut a hole in the do-rag or whatever, in the crown of it, but you don't want that. Brothers don't want to have their head covered. You see that? And I believe that's let me see. I believe that's all I got. Let me see. Try to get a couple more. I'm trying to get a couple more precepts. So yeah, to those that's new to the truth, this is basically an introduction on how to pray. Let me see. I had another one. This is Isaiah chapter 1 and verse 15. I believe this is basically showing you and give you an understanding on what you're supposed to do with your hands. This is Isaiah chapter 1 verse 15. And when ye spread forth your hands, I will hide my eyes from you. Yea, when ye make many prayers, I will not hear. Your hands are full of blood. So that's going into, Judah trying to make sacrifices and the Most High, kind of getting on them. But that's basically showing you that, they prayed with their hands, out, and they was facing, the east. So that's basically what it was going into. So let's read that one more time. Isaiah chapter 1, verse 15. And when you spread forth your hands, so, that's basically, showing you another precept, giving you some more proof on you want to have your hands open, stretched forth. So let me see. I think it's another one is Sirach, the 7th chapter. Yeah, I already got that. So yeah, I really didn't have many notes written down, but all praise to the Most High. So let me see. I believe that's all I got that I wanted to get. I didn't want to make this too long. Let me see. Let me see. Yeah, I believe that's all I want. This is Luke chapter 18, and I'm going to start at verse 10. 2 men went up into the temple to pray, the one a Pharisee and the other a publican. The Pharisee stood and prayed thus with himself, God, I thank thee that I am not as other men are, extortioners, unjust, adulterers, or even as the publican. I fast twice in the week. I give tithes of all that I possess. And the publican, standing afar off, will not lift up so much as his eyes unto heaven. See that? So basically, he got his head down. It's because it said, lift up his eyes toward heaven. He said he would not lift up his eyes toward heaven, but smote upon his breast, saying, God, be merciful to me, a sinner. I tell you, this man went down to his house justified rather than the other. For everyone that exalted himself shall be abased, and he that humbled himself shall be exalted. So the Most High just basically told you, if you humble yourself, he will exalt you. So you don't want to be out trying to make yourself be invisible like the Pharisees and the Sadducees, man. Praying out in public. You want to kind of keep things in a humble sense, and that way the Most High can exalt you. And with that, that was my last precept. Hoping it was edifying to you. Salaki for the babbling and going all over the place. I was mainly want to kind of chop it down and keep it short and sweet. Give it all glory and honor to Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shah, Brother Hosea, Fisherman of Zion. Bidding everybody, hey, stay girded, keep your loins girded, keep your mind stayed on the Most High. Renew your mind each and every day to the best of your ability. Keep these laws, statutes, commandments. To those waking up to the truth, hey, welcome to the party, Welcome to the marriage. You got to stay in this thing. Most High willing, I'm still in this thing when Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shah make his return. And hopefully you are too. Hopefully we both are the elect. you know, and we can get delivered out of this hellhole, man. This spiritual wicked Babylon, Sodom and Gomorrah, and Egypt. You know, bidding everybody shalom, peace, 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 and continue to endure until the end. And with that, Kwam Yashuallah.